It's this week's weekly AI news roundup.
I think
with
we
all
should
the
make.
fun stories from the week in the AI
Yeah.
world.
I think you should make Peter come up with and sing a song every Friday.
I can do that. I can
It's
definitely
the
do
AI
that.
roundup
100%.
or something. Like, you
Next,
can make it like a
okay.
shanty.
Subscribe if you don't want to miss next week's Sea Shanty AI news roundup intro from DJ P Low. Okay.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so we did a story about Google scraping everything to train AI. John, name us. We just recorded this episode. John, name an article.
You really got me. OpenAI is opening offices in London.
Nailed it.
AI
Peter,
investment.
name an article.
I had time to think.
He said,
all right.
It is the AI investment article.
There we go. All right. Enjoy the show. You want to kick us off, Peter, for the Friday AI roundup?
Actually, I should do it in the style of like a news anchor. I've been trying to make these thumbnails in the style of a news anchor sitting at a desk, but actually an image generated by AI, but they don't come out very well. I've tried all sorts of different prompts, and they're just... So I think I'm going to... The most popular one, and I think it is entirely the thumbnail, was just a woman going, yay! So maybe I'll just... Anyway, welcome to this week's weekly AI roundup. The news that you didn't catch from this week, or probably did actually. But anyway, the first story we've got on the news desk today is that ChatGPT owner OpenAI is to open its first foreign office in the UK, which is interesting. My first thought was maybe I can get a job there, which would be very exciting. Followed very, very quickly by I clearly do not have the skills to work at OpenAI. But then of course the conspiracy theories started flooding in and into my head, and then was like reinforced by my little echo chamber that I live in.
Well,
yeah, lots of potential reasons.
We could first say that the stated reason in the article is to be able to attract talent.
Yeah, but we all know that every stated reason is the one that isn't. That's the like no corporation says something and you go, yeah, that's definitely true.
That makes sense. Right.
So what's the real reason, Peter?
I think there's a couple of possibilities, and I think it has to do with regulation. One is maybe the data and privacy laws are more relaxed or planned to be more relaxed in the UK because of Brexit. It's one of the things that the Tories wanted to do here, which was like relax the laws and rewrite GDPR basically to be more friendly to businesses. But also because
that could go to why they would choose the UK over a European country, an EU country, but not why they're starting an overseas office necessarily.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I think that's probably just expansion, talent and the usual stuff. So maybe the stated reason is part of it. I'll give them that. But why they chose the UK as opposed to anywhere else, it's not because the UK has got a particularly high density of AI developers.
I mean, London is the other major city, right?
It's a tech hub. I mean,
yeah,
there are many to choose from, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think somewhere like Germany.
I was going to say Berlin. But also,
I mean, not to take away from Berlin, but if you talk about like major cities around the world, you've got New York, London, Beijing. Like, are other cities on that same tier?
I think with tech-wise, yeah. I mean, London is good. Is a big financial center. I would say Germany probably has a bigger economy than the UK. But I don't know. Maybe it's just being overly cynical. But I think that also the incoming regulations on AI, they probably very carefully picked somewhere that's going to be a bit more friendly to how they want to operate in the future. It's the reason why so many companies pick Dublin Ireland as the base of operations because of taxes.
They call it the Irish sandwich or something like that.
Really, I didn't know that.
It has to do with like having a footprint in two different places and taking the. I'll try and find it. John, you thought there was a financial motive here.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you plan on going public or you want to attract more funding, it's very common to increase your footprint into different regions. So like if you want to attract Asian markets, right, you set up a satellite office in Asia. And if you want to attract European markets, right, you set up a footprint in Europe or England, I guess.
That makes sense.
In this case. But it is interesting because they're not lacking in money. Unless maybe they are. It is super expensive to run ChatGPT and all the other AI stuff that they're doing. I mean, turbo expensive, you guys.
Well,
so
that's a good segue into our next article where we're going to talk about the funding. Let me first say, I did look it up. The double Irish Dutch sandwich is a tax avoidance scheme used by multinational companies. Under the scheme, a company sets up two subsidiaries in Ireland, a holding and operating Irish company. The holding company registers in a tax haven, and it allows it to avoid paying taxes on its profits. So I wasn't just totally making it up. Double Irish Dutch sandwich.
Sex position. It's 100% sex related. I'm sorry. Go on. All right. Yes.
So
we mentioned this last. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, the headline of the article is about Inflection AI, the year-old startup behind Chatbot Pi, raising $1.3 billion. But linking it to the previous story, there's like real money in these companies. So OpenAI in January took $10 billion in funding. Inflection got 1.3 this year, and then we go back a couple of years after that to Cruise took $2 billion in.
What was really interesting to me was that I had never heard of any of these companies except for OpenAI.
I've heard of Cruise. The rest, I think I've seen Argo here and there, but I know Cruise is the autonomous driving company.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Argo AI. What do you think that's all about? What do you think Argo AI do?
Chatbot. That's my bet.
Big wooden horses. No, that's Troy, isn't it? Well, who is the soldiers of Argus? Never mind.
No clue.
I'm getting my mythologies mixed up. Inflection AI is the story's about Sense Time. Never heard of that either.
Autonomous vehicle startup. Argo AI was an autonomous vehicle startup. Looks like it might actually have shut down.
Oh, you said was. Wow.
Yeah, it's article
there goes $2.5 billion.
Just gone.
And that was in 2019 as well.
AI is expensive, you guys. I'm telling you. So, I mean, I messed around with, before we dive into this, I messed around with this PyBot just before we started recording. And it says, I asked it a few questions. So I said, how are you different from, or actually I tested it a bit. So here we go. It basically told me it's a more empathetic and friendly AI. Okay. And when I asked how it's different, it's like a companion was its answer. So I said, I don't want to be your friend, to see how it responded. And it was very cookie cutter. Like, I'm designed to be helpful and engaging. And then I asked, what kind of AI are you? And it's also a large language model. And I asked if it's open source, and it says no, it is not open source. It's proprietary system developed by Inflection AI. They're a small AI startup based in Palo Alto. You can read more about them at
1.x billion in funding.
So, anytime I hear about that, I do wonder, did these guys train it themselves, or are they also just another poof company who are funneling all their answers to ChatGPT, or all their prompts? But I mean, it's probably them. It'd be, it is interesting though that it's trying to be your friend, right? That's its whole purpose. That's what they're trying to sell, is I'm just a friendly companion for you that you can talk to and tell me all your little secrets.
Don't trust
it. We've talked about that. Yeah, we've talked about that a bunch.
Last week.
Yeah,
very scary.
All right, this one I was enraged about when it first came up. Now I think the guy's just a jackass. Fluffy developer Fox.
I was surprised to hear your reaction to this. Actually, I thought maybe you were having a bad day.
Why?
But go on.
Why were you surprised?
Go on. Let's talk about the story. Explain the story first.
So,
and then I don't know.
So the story's not the story, right? I think you Peter posted this on the 3rd, 3 days ago, and the post has since been edited pretty significantly. So the issue was on the 3rd, this fluffy developer Fox posted this tweet, which at the time tweet. It's on Mastodon. I don't know what the fuck they call those things.
It is Mastodon. Yeah.
I called it a tweet, though. It's not a tweet. It's a Mastodon.
It's a toot.
It's a toot.
Okay, whatever. So the original version of this toot said, to anyone thinking about joining Blue Sky, especially artists, and this is where it diverges, everything you post is used to train generative AI models. And then he goes on to say, Blue Sky uses AI to label content for moderation. And to do that, they use a company called thehive.ai. If you look through their privacy policy, you will see that they use all content sent to them to train models for AI. 3 hours later, and this post also was edited, he came back again to say, oh, by the way, they answered all the questions and they're not actually doing that. Their terms of service was just a little unclear, but we don't care anyway because we hate these guys. So this fucking reactive nonsense about everybody's out to get us. The AIs, corporations can do no good. Like, yeah, they've got enough problems to take legitimate criticisms for the thing that they actually do. You don't have to run around making stuff up.
Well, so yeah, I didn't. I thought you, I suppose, overreacted slightly to this guy. He looked at their privacy policy, and the privacy policy said that you can use it for they will use uploaded content for what do we call it, for the Hive, but it was because the privacy policy was unclear, and then the privacy policy was cleaned up. So I think it was a sort of fairly reasonable.
It was like partly because it was unclear. Also because he was trying to be sensationalistic. But then even when it became clear, it wasn't, oh, yeah, man, I'm sorry that I really, took this wrong. It was, I mean, they answered the questions, but we still don't trust them.
Oh, yeah, it's because he doesn't. But it was because their moderation is non-existent. But right. I mean, fair enough. It seems like just a sort of reasonable mistake to make, to be honest.
This is an app in beta, right? This is being created by the original maker of Twitter. Right?
Yo.
Who's taking the good things from Mastodon and the good things from Twitter and making something that's actually good. Yeah, you're going to have some problems in the beginning. No moderation for now. Like, they'll figure that problem out or it will not survive. There's just zero chance. So, or it'll just become another 4chan, right? And even 4chan actually has moderation. Very, very, very low standards, but still they have moderation. So, I made a YouTube. Is this our cue? Is this our cue to tell you to subscribe?
Yeah.
I was just putting up a cute little meme I made.
to everybody who subscribed, we genuinely love you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Hang on. Yes.
Wow, that took a little too long, Peter.
Thank you.
And to the ones who are watching but haven't subscribed, screw you. No, I'm kidding.
No. John, that's not going to help.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Click the button to subscribe. It really helps us, like every other channel in the world.
Figure it out.
We're small and need it more than everybody else. So help us become YouTube megastars.
At any rate, I'm sick of the privacy alarmism. We can talk about the next story.
All right.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, jeez. You really set yourself up.
So, yeah, Google have explicitly said that the entire public internet is fair games for its AI projects. Annoyingly, they have put an apostrophe in the wrong place and it's there. That always pisses me off. I don't know why. It's one of my pet peeves. Is there's no apostrophe in the possessive it.
It is AI projects. You know what's crazy? We're going to talk about an article that's going to talk about YouTube and stuff. And man, it is like, what's the saying? The whole like for me, but not for thee or whatever, like, like this is literally it. And we're going to talk about it later though. We'll talk about it later.
How so? How so? What's that mean, John?
You'll see in a few episodes.
All right. So I read this headline and think, oh my God, Google's going to do the thing it's been doing since it was created in 1998. It's going to scrape the public internet. No shit.
This is the most non-news I've ever read.
This is ridiculous.
Who's the artist? Who's the author? Thomas Germain.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Thomas.
I thought there was a... Nope, no references to bleeping computer.
Yeah, good check. I do like that we got to make sure that our guys bleeping computer is staying clean, above board, as we journalists like to say.
Yeah, and the entire public internet is fair game for AI projects. No shit. That's what makes it the public internet.
Well, we're now going to have a new tag. Sorry, Peter. I know. I can see you're just... We're going to have a new tag. You know how there's like do not track in browsers, right? Like, which is obviously such a scam. Now we're going to have is do not like AI scrape, and no one's going to use it. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
Or how about just don't post shit to the public internet if you don't want the public to have access to it?
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
Peter?
Well, I don't know. I think there's a valid argument here. I don't know what the answer is.
Have a try at it.
Give it your best shot.
And grab a flak jacket while you're at it.
Like, not everything posted to the internet is free to be used in a commercial way, and Google are going to be making money out of their AI. So if I post a story that I wrote, then I don't think it should be used to enhance someone else's product without me.
Are you licensing the story in a certain way?
Yeah, well, everything is copyright by default. If you give it an explicit license, then you set the terms out, but you have some statutory rights for anything you post online.
But I'm not copying the text. I'm just reading it.
But
no, you're not just reading it. You're reading it and ingesting it into a large language model.
Yeah.
And
it could
reading it.
It could be used for derivative work.
Well, there's been some leakages in some of the models. There's rules about when what's fair use, right? The copyright has very...
but copyright is flawed inherently, and we've seen that because we know that ChatGPT has read all of Lord of the Rings, for example. From me, for example, I went to ChatGPT and and I asked it to quote page 300 and something, fourth line, what does it say in Lord of the Rings? And it fucking spat out the exact quote. So right. And it was like, which edition, right? Because it's like, oh, well, I don't know. It didn't know which edition to check because it's read all the editions. So inherently, the internet is just not safe for content, copyrighted or not.
Okay, but that's, I mean,
copyrighted?
Just describing an illegal activity that's happening doesn't make it right.
No, you're misunderstanding me. You're misunderstanding me. We're at this. We've got these horns, these two sets of horns that are slamming against each other, and one is the archaic rules that have been created back in the fucking 20s or whenever regarding copyright law, and the other is how the internet is now accessed in new ways. And like, we have been clashing copyright wise for a long time because of piracy, but now there's this new aspect of it where some kid just uploaded all of Lord of the Rings in just basic HTML. You could just on a big old page, and ChatGPT scraped and read it. And now what? Whose fault is it? Is it OpenAI's fault? Is it the kids' fault?
I have more sympathy for the people who downloaded Adobe Photoshop and cracked it, and downloaded movies that they couldn't afford to go and see, and games they couldn't afford, than I do for a company that had $10 billion invested in it, or Google, who have worth trillions of dollars.
See,
I mean, they can afford to pay for this content.
You were starting You were starting to swing me with your copyright argument, Peter, but now you're losing me with the whole they can afford it thing.
I'm not trying to argue either side of this. I'm just trying to say there is a legitimate debate to be had about this. And if I was one of the copyright owners of something on the internet that was being misused or used for profit, then I would maybe feel a bit pissed off, and that's what I'm trying to say. I don't have an answer to who's right here.
You know,
going to require some,
Peter. That's a good point, and I think you might be right.
Wow, you just reminded me. Actually, I know we have a few more stories to talk about, but you just reminded me of this thing that happened to me. I had a GTX 970, which is a graphics card, and I was gonna sell it, but I didn't want to take it out of the box. I had it packed up. It was nice. It was looking good. So I just Googled just GTX 970, and I scrolled until I found a picture of a GTX 970, like same model, same, whatever. And that wasn't from the website. I didn't want it to be like a new picture. I just saw some guy's picture. So I just grabbed it. I put it on Craigslist. And a week later, I get an email saying, "You stole the picture of my graphics card."
Seriously?
Seriously. Yeah. Are you trying to scam people? Take it down, or I'm reporting you to the authorities.
How did he find it?
And I replied back, he must have a scraper of some sort.
Or reverse.
And I replied back, and I was like, "No, bro, I'm not trying to scam. I'm just trying to sell my card, but I just was lazy and used your picture. I'll change the picture." And then I did, and he never got back to me.
I like how you're mad about it. Like, oh, a guy caught me doing something I wasn't supposed to do. Dick.
What do you mean? How am I not supposed to do that? All I'm trying to do, and honestly, it's not like I'm trying to scam people here. I literally, if I remember correctly, I probably had like local only or something. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to scam anyone.
What was the ignorance is no defense of,
what was the phone number on that listing, John?
What do you mean?
Was it local pickup only? Where was the address? What was the?
Oh, you mean what's the area code?
Yeah, like how are you gonna do that transaction?
Yeah. It was 312. Go fuck yourself. Yeah.
All right.
So, but like, is that really that wrong? Am I like? I just found a random picture on Google. Okay, Peter, relax. All right. All I did was find a picture on Google
because I spend fucking ages every week looking for copyright-free images for the thumbnails. I have a specific search set up. I use AI generated because
I'm just trying to sell a GPU. Wow. I'm not trying to upload videos to YouTube.
It just doesn't matter. This is like teenage thinking.
Should I find
like you're older than this now. You should know better.
No. We're done with this.
You
John.
don't want to?
The show's over.